Hello, travelers. Justin from Adventures Away, and today we are on board the beautiful Anthem of the Seas. Let's take a walkthrough of what you could expect to find on board.
Anthem of the Seas was put into service in 2015 as the second of 5 Quantum-class cruise ships in operation for Royal Caribbean. Across the 2,090 passenger cabins on Anthem, she can hold just over 4,900 passengers at maximum capacity. She currently spends half of the year sailing from Cape Liberty, New Jersey, also known as New York City, and the other half from Southampton in the United Kingdom. However, after 2024, Anthem will be traveling the world, sailing from Alaska, as well as Asia, starting in 2025. On board, you will enter on Deck 5 in the Royal Esplanade. The Royal Esplanade is the replacement for the Grand Promenade found on other Royal Caribbean ships. Wonderland is a very different dining experience that you have ever encountered on a cruise ship, with Wonderland-esque theming as well as the main courses. Izumi is Royal Caribbean's sushi bar. If you're craving sushi, I would definitely hit up Izumi because you will not find sushi anywhere else on board. As we make our way out of the Royal Esplanade, we enter the schooner bar, which has been a staple on almost every Royal Caribbean ship since they were founded. Near the edge of the schooner bar, you will also find the photo gallery. This is where you will find the photos that crew takes using your SeaPass card throughout your voyage. Also found off of the schooner bar is Chop's Grill, as well as Chef's Kitchen, which is the highest quality dining you will find on board. Located on decks 3 through 5, the Royal Theatre is where you will find the majority of the entertainment on board Anthem of the Seas, with daily activities such as bingo and the nightly shows. Sharing Deck 3 is Music Hall, which is the live music entertainment venue found on board. Music Hall stretches from Deck 3 to 4, as there is an upstairs viewing area. Right off of Music Hall is Casino Royale, where you can make a donation to the casino. On decks 3 and 4 aft are the dining rooms found on board Anthem of the Seas, which are 4 separate dining locations that serve the same courses. Moving back onto deck 4, at the Royal Esplanade, you'll find some awesome interactive artwork that can keep the kids entertained for a little bit. The Royal Esplanade gives a fantastic mall feel, where there is most of the shopping that you can find on board, as well as several different locations to get food, snacks, and coffee. Boleros is another bar found off of the Royal Esplanade, where you can find nightly live music. Cafe Promenade is a great little spot to get snacks as well as some coffee or other drinks. Sorrento's was one of my family's favorite go-to spots for grabbing something quick to eat, with having hours that are open pretty much all day long. La Patisserie is a great custom coffee location, as well as you can get some awesome pastries, as well as Red Bulls and other drinks. Brassenbach Pub is that Irish pub feel and has great entertainment throughout the night as well. As mentioned before, the Royal Shops are located inside of the Royal Esplanade, and anything you can think of, you will pretty much find in any one of these shops. Located inside of the music hall, you'll find the Diamond Club, which I do not quite have access to yet. However, here soon, I hope to. Located on Deck 5 Mid inside of the Royal Esplanade, you'll also find the Shore Excursions desk, which is also right next to the Bionic Bar, where two robotic bartenders will make custom drinks. Moving towards the back of Anthem, on Deck 5 you'll find the Via. Inside Via, you will also find Jamie's Italian Restaurant, as well as Vintages, which is the wine bar. Continuing down the hallway on Deck 5, you will run into the next cruise desk, where you can book your next Royal Caribbean adventure. If you don't want to visit this desk, you could always email us here at Adventures Away, and I can help you with your next Royal Caribbean or Carnival, Norwegian, pretty much any cruise line trip that you would want to book. The cafe at 270 is another great little spot to get hot sandwiches as well as other snacks throughout the day. All the way at aft on Deck 5s and 6, you will find Club 270, which, looking from the exterior of the ship, the large black windows, this is 270. 270 offers nightly entertainment shows with moving robotic screens. This show is definitely one that is friendly for all ages, and is one of the shows to definitely check out while on board. Located upstairs on Deck 6, Inside of 270 is the workshop. Next to the workshop, you will also find the onboard library. During the day, this is one of the more quiet spots on the ship, so if you need some alone time and quiet time, the library is definitely one to check out. Moving up the ship, there is definitely nothing much else except for cabins that you will find. We stayed on deck 8 in a forward-facing, spacious ocean view cabin. This is probably the biggest cabin that I have ever stayed in on a cruise ship, and I think is a fantastic value for what you pay for. You pay for the spacious ocean view price, which is equal to the ones directly next to us, which are about half of the width. We have another cruise booked over Thanksgiving on Odyssey of the Seas in the same exact cabin. We absolutely fell in love with the extra space we had, as well as the kids having room to run about and wear out some of that energy they may had after lunch before nap time. Inside of the cabins, you do get some extra amenities, including a little mini fridge. Now, this isn't necessarily a fridge, but it is a cooler and will keep your drinks cool. There are 2 large closets inside of the cabin as well, which will hold everything you would need for a 7-day cruise. One extra special thing about this cabin is the view you get out of the insanely large window, which in our case in Cape Liberty gives us a fantastic view of downtown Manhattan. Around the kids clubs on deck 10 and 11 forward, you will also find a free play area for the smaller cruisers. We took our daughter there and she had an absolute ball playing with the other kids there. My older son even got involved on the fun too. On deck 13 aft, you'll find the conference center on board, which I was not able to get into because it was reserved for the entire cruise. Now, aft on deck 14, you'll run into probably one of the best places on the ship, which is the Windjammer Marketplace. The Windjammer had a fantastic selection of different foods during lunch, breakfast, and dinner. The only thing with Windjammer is that by day 2 or 3, we noticed that it was pretty much the same stuff the entire cruise. There wasn't much variety compared to pre-COVID cruises. When we were on Grandeur of the Seas back in 2019 before COVID shut the world down, we had a bigger selection inside of the Windjammer. The servers inside of the Windjammer are world class that you will find on any of the ships, and is still a great atmosphere. The only complaint would be is the lack of variety of different foods. There was different things nightly, however it was just one small section of the buffet, compared to the more variety we got on the smaller ship pre-COVID. Just outside of the Windjammer Marketplace, you will find the living room, which is the Teenage Kids Club on board. As we make our way outside onto the pool deck, we have Johnny Rockets, which is a made-to-order food venue, which does cost additional. However, it is not too bad. For the family of 4, we ended up spending about $50-$60 for our meal and a couple of milkshakes. This food is better than the burgers you will find inside of the Windjammer, since they are made to order. Probably the busiest place on board the entire cruise is the pool deck. On board Anthem of the Seas, they do have several different options for pools. They do have a walk-in little splash pad for the smaller cruisers, but not the babies, as well as a whirlpool, which is pretty much a little mini lazy river. They also have a little baby splash pad, which my daughter absolutely loved. We could not get her out of it. Found outside on the pool deck, there is also a large movie screen which plays movies nightly. There also is a bar outside, which is the Sky Bar, for parents who may need something a little bit stronger than a Sprite. On Anthem of the Seas, you also have an indoor pool area, which has 2 hot tubs as well as a pool and the little baby pool, which is only about 4 or 5 inches deep, which is fantastic for toddlers who can't quite swim yet. Once again, my daughter had an absolute ball in this little pool. Inside of the indoor pool area, you will also find the towel station where you can check in and out, free to use towels, as long as you return them by the end of your cruise. They do charge for each towel you forget to return. On the opposite side of the towel station is Tide and Trail, which is an adventure supply shop, which I don't think I saw it open once our entire 7-day cruise. The Solarium Bistro does serve pretty good food at a little bit more of a selection compared to Windjammer, but the hours are significantly tighter compared to the Windjammer hours. The Solarium on Deck 14 forward is the adults-only area of Anthem of the Seas. Inside of the Solarium, you will find the Solarium Bar, as well as 2 jacuzzis and a large multi-level pool. Out of all of the solariums found in Royal Caribbean on all of their ships, the Quantum class solariums are probably one of the prettiest found in the entire fleet. If you walk all the way forward overlooking the bow, if you turn left or right, which would be port or starboard, you will find doors that are actually areas that are on top of the bridge. These are called the bridge wings. Now, if it is very windy out, they will lock these doors since it will get very breezy and it is hard to get. During our cruise, it was very windy the entire time, and we were really not able to get on any point in time. But this is a fantastic option for sail away or coming into port if you want some great views. Going up one deck, you will find Vitality Spa on Deck 15 forward. As well as the spa, if you go up another deck to Deck 16, you have the nail portion of the spa as well as the gym, which I don't know about you. If I'm on a cruise and vacation, I'm not going here. You'll find me at the buffet. Now coming out of Deck 15, moving back towards the outdoor pool, you will find the North Star Bar, which has some fantastic overlooks of the pool area, as well as where you will find the entrance to North Star, which is an observation pod which takes you 300 feet above sea level and gives some fantastic views while both in port and at sea. Going to Deck 15 aft, you will find the Fuel Teen Disco, which is the second teenage-only area found on board. On the opposite side of the Fuel Teen Disco, you will find the arcade, which is probably one of the bigger arcades that I've been to on a Royal Caribbean ship. The Seaplex found on Deck 15 aft is probably one of the coolest places found on board. This is a giant indoor sports arena where throughout the cruise you will find basketball, bumper cars, as well as laser tag, depending on the time of the day and the cruise. The bumper cars are very fun, and all of it is included with your cruise fare. Found at the back of the Seaplex is the Seaplex Doghouse, where you can get custom-made hot dogs however you like. Upstairs, on Deck 16, still inside of the Seaplex, you will find several ping pong tables, foosball, as well as an Xbox room where you can check in and out controllers and have some time to yourself at the Seaplex desk. Just outside of the Seaplex, you will find the rock climbing wall, where up to 3 at a time can go up. Overlooking the rock wall, you also have Gigi the Giraffe. Each Quantum class cruise ship has an animal in this same spot, but no two animals are the same. Found just above the rock walls is Flow Rider, which is the surf simulator which is a staple on most Royal Caribbean ships. Something that is special to the Quantum class cruise ships compared to the rest of the Royal Caribbean fleet is Ripcord by iFly, which is a skydiving simulator which normally is found on land, but this is the only skydiving simulator at sea. At the end of each session, usually the instructors will treat you to a fantastic show. So let's quickly go over the ports on this itinerary, starting with Port Canaveral. Port Canaveral, basically Orlando, but from the port, you get a good view of Kennedy Space Center. If you're lucky enough to be here during a SpaceX launch, you will have a front row seat to a launch from satellites. Next stop is Nassau, with their newly renovated cruise terminal, which is, for lack of better words, fantastic. I mean, from night and day from their previous cruise terminal. Inside of the terminal gates, they have local shops where you don't have to worry about going outside of the terminal if you don't feel like it. Perfect Day KOKOK, in our case, was far from a perfect day. It was very rainy and windy pretty much all day. So we were only off the ship for about an hour or so before a rainstorm came and stayed for the rest of the day. But I always look forward to visiting KOKOK whenever I am able. Now I want to talk about a little bit of the overall experience that we had on board Anthem of the Seas. It was a fantastic cruise overall, with many memories that we made in different areas of the ship as well as off the ship. A couple of things that we want to note though is we had a really bad issue with a neighboring cabin. My son suffers from severe asthma and can get triggered with an asthma attack fairly easily. Well, we had a cabin about 15 doors from ours, which we had to pass to get to our cabin. Well, they were smoking marijuana. With all of the recent news stories of Carnival kicking guests off ships and drug sniffing dogs with Carnival, I was expecting to see that with Royal Caribbean. However, that was far from the case. The first time we walked by their room, my son ended up going into an asthma attack and had to use his rescue inhaler. We went right down to guest services and made a complaint. We were offered medical services, but it would have been an additional cost. And they would have done nothing that we already did. So they went and talked to those guests in that room, and they were warned about the smoking policy on balconies. Well, a couple of days went by, and everything was a lot better. Until about 2 days later, where they were doing it again. And once again, my son went into an asthma attack again. We went back down to guest services, this time with a not so nice attitude because this is the second time. Once again, they were warned and nothing was done. I would expect a little bit higher quality of customer service from Royal Caribbean and a little bit more seriousness when it comes to marijuana on board cruise ships. Now, I'm not against marijuana, but it is something you need to do on your own time that won't affect others. To the point that it was affecting our vacation quality because my son was going into asthma attacks over it, we've got a problem. And the fact that Royal Caribbean did nothing about it makes it very frustrating. But other than that, it was still a fantastic cruise, and I would highly suggest getting on Anthem of the Seas.